the Thursday Taylor Treasures Talk Show.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Sometimes that title is hard for me to get out. It's very long.
It's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. But welcome back. Hope you had a great New Year.
Great Christmas.
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah, all of it.
Now we have entered into the long winter.
I know the holidays are over.
Long winter. But it's okay because it'll be fine.
We'll make it.
You'll make it, and then it'll be spring, and then summer's here, so it's fine.
Right. At least where we live, the winter has been extremely mild. Like, it's beginning of January, and we haven't had one real snow yet. Like, we've had like 3 days of like tiny flurries, and that's about it.
Yeah, there's been like no actual snow, which is quite strange.
It is weird. But today we're going to be talking about understanding introverts and extroverts, because I am very introverted and she is more on the extroverted side.
Yes, I'm not a total extrovert, but I lean towards that.
Or like an ambivert, I guess, because there are people that are both ways.
I'm just special.
I know,
I don't fit into a category, guys.
Right. So yeah, we're going to talk about that, and then also after the Taylor Treasure Box, we'll do. We want to talk about just like our childhood winters growing up, and I don't know if you know this, but you're going to share that special hot chocolate recipe. Someone requested it from last time.
We did.
So we're going to share it.
I've done research, and this is it. So get ready.
All right. It's really good. We had it on Christmas. It's very good. So as always, I start with some quotes. So let's start with some introvert quotes. So the first one is, never underestimate the social awareness and sense of reality in a quiet person. They are some of the most absorbent persons of all. Both of those words together. I am rarely bored alone. I am often bored in groups and crowds. The next one is, quiet people have the loudest minds. That's very true.
Yes, they do.
Yes. So here's some more extra. It was really hard for me to find extroverted quotes online. Like, there's a lot of introverted ones.
Extroverts just say it.
I know.
Don't need a quote to describe it. They just are. Introverts need to express it through words.
Oh,
Extroverts just like, I just am.
Yeah. Okay, so an extrovert is more likely to share intimate reactions and process information through conversation. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I would say that's true. I like to talk.
Yeah. And the last two are, while introverts try to escape to their homes or offices after a night out with friends or an intense meeting, extroverts find that too much time alone drains their natural energy. They recharge their internal batteries by being around other people. That's very true. Mm-hmm. And then the last one is, while introverts are more likely to internalize problems and think through them, extroverts don't mind talking out their problems to others for discussion and guidance. They're often more willing to express themselves openly and make clear their preferences or choices. And then just, I guess the main definition for extroverts and introverts are, introverts are drained by being social with people, while extroverts refuel themselves by being with people. So it's like, when I'm with people, I get drained, but while she's with people, she actually feels more energy, like it helps her.
Yeah, it's all how you recharge your battery, really, is how it works. And I always, for years I considered myself an introvert because I'm not the typical, like, center of attention. In fact, I don't really like being the center of attention, loud person. Yeah. I'm definitely more talkative than, like, you are around people. But I can tend to be a little more quiet. So I was always just like, oh, I must be an introvert. And then I figured out I was an extrovert by observing other people who, like that quote described, say we were at an event all day where we were out with people, and then somebody says, like, hey, let's go grab some ice cream. I'd be like, sure, that sounds fun. Yeah. And I'd see, like, some people would be like, I can't. Like,
I should know. It's too much.
I already allotted my social time for the day, and it's over. I need to go home. And also from just realizing how when I'm alone a lot, I'm very, very tired. I'm just, like, really drained.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I'm actually more of, like, an extrovert, but I'm not loud.
Right.
And you don't have to be, is what I'm finding.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I first wanted to start with like being an introvert, talking about like an introverted mind, because like introverted minds are always being filled with inner thoughts, to a point where sometimes it gets annoying and tiresome, and you're like, can you just shut off for like 10 minutes? And no, it's impossible, because you're constantly thinking about things. You're constantly going over, scenarios in your heads. Yeah, you're going over embarrassing moments from like 5 years ago that you're thinking about, and you feel this twinge of embarrassment out of nowhere just because you're thinking about it.
Yep.
And yeah, and so I mean, there are pros and cons to it, because for some people having an introverted brain can cause like anxiety, because then if you're an introverted brain, you're thinking about things a lot and overthinking, and you can make the fake scenarios of, oh, what if this happens, even though it hasn't happened yet, or going over. I have a feeling that, obviously I'm not an extrovert person, but I feel like extroverts have a much easier time forgetting and letting go of some awkward situation than an introvert does. Like, an introvert internalizes it and remembers it like forever. And I feel like you're like, in like 10 minutes, you forgot about it. You're like, whatever.
I mean, it depends on how bad it is.
Yeah,
but there's stuff that you've said still bothers you that I'm like, oh, I forgot I did that ever. Like, it just doesn't. It has to be really bad for me to like dwell on it and remember.
Yeah.
Oh, that was terrible. And most times I'm like, oops, I grabbed the wrong plate at the checkout thing. It's whatever. I don't care. Oh well.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean,
like yesterday, I just did something. What did I do? Oh, I was walking on the sidewalk. I was behind a group of 3 people, and I was like kind of late, so I was like, "Hey guys, like, you're taking up the whole sidewalk. I have to get past you." I was holding like 2 cups of like 2 drinks, something under my arm, and they were slowing down, so I was gonna try to go like around them on the left side, but then they turned and they were gonna go in a door there, so I was like, oh, okay. So I decided to go to the right. Well, the guy on the end, he did not know what to do, I guess. He thought he was going to go around the other way. We walked to the complete other side of the sidewalk, and I walked in the street to go around him, because he was trying to like do that thing where like you give them space but you each go the wrong way. And I just committed. I'm like, no, I'm not dancing with you. I'm just going to go this way. And so it was very awkward, but like, I don't care. Like, right. It's over.
Yeah. You forget about it. But so yeah, that's annoying, because if you have all these thoughts and it causes like your mind to go crazy sometimes. But it also can be helpful, because an introverted brain is very detail oriented. We can tell the little things, and it also helps in situations with people, because we like notice everything. Like, if you think you're hiding an emotion, you're probably not if you're around an introverted person, because we can tell by the eye movements, or we can tell by the slight change in tone, and it shows us like, oh, it looks like that person is not enjoying themselves, or maybe this person is really excited but trying to hide it, or someone is uncomfortable in a situation. It can help, because then we can help with, like, if a conversation, if you're seeing someone that you can tell is feeling uncomfortable, then you can throw in a little comment and kind of like steer the situation and the conversation away from that, whatever is making them uncomfortable. And yeah, so that'll just help with situations to make people less agitated, or not get to an annoyed
yeah, and I've really found to we need obviously both kinds of people, but I am not observant. Like,
oh no.
I don't. I see the big picture. I miss things all the time, and I've especially come to find from my fiance, who's he's introverted, and he'll notice stuff. I'm like, what? How do you?
I know you know that?
And like, it's because I'm realizing he is 100% of the time like a little radar.
Yes, it is a radar. Yeah,
like, you're just like
see
observing the entire room. You're like seeing stuff where I'm just like enjoying my cookie and I'm not looking at anything. And he's like, "Did you see that?"
Yeah.
No. So yeah, it's
just
like your brains are always, just because you're quiet doesn't mean you're paying and like no attention. You're paying more attention because you're quiet.
And that's why I like the quote, "Quiet people have the loudest minds," because we're not necessarily saying anything, but we are noticing everything. And if you're trying to hide something, well, we're probably going to see it. Like, we're going to notice it. Like, you know, sometimes, like, even I can tell with people, I can just kind of, like, feel, you know, the vibe. Like, I can just, like, tell in the room, like, is this room, okay, this is a fun room, or is this room, I'm feeling some negative energy, or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm sure you've had that before, but, you know,
sometimes
it's just,
if it's very obvious, you can tell. But,
right. Yeah, so yeah, we're very, very observant. We can tell a lot.
And it makes sense that you would get drained that way because your brain's always on and it's always basically accepting and new information. And so if you don't have time to, like, decompress, it just gets overloaded.
And for you, can you, like, if you're doing a project or if you're focusing on something, is it easy for you to just, like, block everything else out in the room and just, like, focus on that? Or are you still looking around and noticing?
Well, that's why I'm not a total extrovert, because my brain is firing most of the day as well. It's not like I'm not observing stuff, but my brain is more, okay, I have to call this person. Okay, this person needs to be texted. All right, they have this I need to put on the schedule. Like, it's always thinking, but I think that's just more of a female brain. That's
multitasking.
But I can definitely do, like, a project, but that's when I find I'm more drained. Is, like, if I sit down and, like, do a puzzle for 5 hours, I am exhausted. I just want to go to bed. But if I go to an outdoor picnic for 5 hours, I'm like, okay, great. I'm like, fine.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I
need to go to bed.
So it's like, but I value that you do have to take time to be by yourself and not be around people, because I can get too busy and then you still get burned out, even though that's how you're getting recharged. It's like overcharge. So yeah, it's important, but I just get very tired when I have to just, like, focus on one solitary thing for, like, a long time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I think introverts are very good at the little things, and the little things can actually be very important because, you know, oftentimes, say, you know, you're at your work and someone, you know, brings you your favorite drink, or they take care of a certain item on your list for the day that you really don't like doing, and you might notice, like, oh, wow, that's really nice, I didn't even say anything ever. But it's because we are looking around and we probably see that drink on your desk every day, or we'll hear, you know, you sigh every time you have to go do the one thing that you don't want to do. And so we can help in that way and just, like, give you a little relief in the day and just go take care of that for you, because we're noticing all these little things. I think we can all agree that, you know, sometimes the little things that people do for you can make the biggest impact. Like, you know, I don't know if it's like saying hello to someone on the street or having someone remember your name. Like, it's so little, but, like, at the same time you feel, like, so special that someone, like, has been noticing you and caring about you enough to remember that. Yeah. So I think that's really helpful.
I think that's definitely important. To really notice the small things, you know. And I think for extroverts, a good thing about them is we obviously don't notice all the small things, but we don't necessarily get caught up in all the small things, because I do think introverts sometimes can just make things bigger, because when you are alone, you kind of get in your head in a way and things seem bigger. Yeah. So I think as an extrovert, I am pretty good at being like, it's going to be fine. Like, it'll work out. Don't worry. It's going to be okay.
Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, how is she not, like, stressing about this right now? Like, how...
but I've seen the face from people, you and sometimes Bobby, where it's like, no, it's not okay. Like, we need to figure this out now. Yeah. But because we're looking at the big picture, we don't need every single detail to line up. We're like, it's going to work out. Right. We can see it's 90% okay, so it's going to be all right.
And I think it's, that's why I want to point out that you need both kinds of people, because introverts or extroverts are very important too, because, you know, for us as introverts, there are things we're very good at, like the detail-oriented, noticing, you know, someone's emotions, but we're not good at things like the big things. Like, we don't want to be in front of people, so, like, public speaking, now we're gonna have a panic attack. Don't ask us to do that. But yeah, I think it is important, like, for someone to be leading, say, a project or an activity at, a building or something, I feel like that's something that is more fit for an extrovert because they can see the bigger picture and kind of get things done probably quicker because they're not so focused on, getting this thing, exactly right. And all these little dots, they're picking the most important dots and getting those done.
There's a lot, I think, about being able to delegate, like when you're doing something big like that. And I think a lot of introverted people, you're very detail oriented, so you need it to be done exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes if it's a big event, you can't physically do every little thing, so you have to be able to say, okay, you finish that, you do this.
Right, yeah.
But I find it interesting how there are people who are like actors on Broadway or, they're on stage or singers or something who are super introverted people.
Well, that's true, yeah.
But it's like if they can do something that's not necessarily social, like if they're performing, that they like that. Like, it's okay. Like, maybe they become a different character or something.
That is true, yeah. Like, yeah, if you look up a lot of celebrities, a good majority of them are pretty quiet people in real life. Pretty introverted.
Yeah, and it's true. Yeah. They have to go and be by themselves to recollect themselves. But it doesn't mean, just like an extrovert like me can be more quiet, you can be an introvert and I think be someone who is the center of attention for a performance or something because...
Also, if you grow up in it, like, if you were in plays since you were a kid and then you go off to acting school or whatever, that helps too because you're so used to it at that point. So I think another thing that extroverts are really good at is if you put a group of introverts together in a room at, like, a party that don't know each other very well, it's gonna be bad.
No one's gonna say anything.
Yeah, we're gonna be really awkward.
Here's my phone, and I'm gonna do this now.
Yeah, right. That's true. So, it's really good to have extroverts and introverts at parties or at any event with a lot of people, because then the extroverts can kind of take over the conversation and keep it going. So then the introverts don't feel that stress of having to take care of the conversation, and so they can just be there to throw in. There are certain comments that they want to say, but no, like, okay, they're gonna keep this going. It's good. Like, I always feel good, like I'm getting somewhere where I don't know people, and then I get there, and there's like that one person that like just knows how to ask all the questions and keep going. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and I find that I like to do that,
yeah.
And I found a nice way to be able to include quieter people because they don't want to be able to talk a whole lot, because sometimes you're like, oh man, I feel like they never say anything, I feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
But not really. As long as you're gonna include them with questions and they can answer, I've found they seem perfectly happy. They don't need to be saying stuff all the time.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's a good thing. And then, because as she said, we do like speaking up at certain times, but it has to be... We have to think about it for a while, and it has to be something that we really want to say. So if an introvert says something, it's good to listen because they thought about it for a while. Okay, I'm going to say it like this. All right, we're going to say it, and this is what I'm going to say.
And that's where I'm also not totally an extrovert because I have that a little bit where I do think about things, and then sometimes you think too long, and the conversation is, like, gone. You're like, oh, I can't say that anymore. Darn
right.
It. Like, some extroverts are very quick people. Like, I have a friend... Man, she came up with a comeback in like a second. She's so good at it.
I'm envious of that. I love that.
And I'm like... and then 5 minutes later, that would have been a good one. Dang it.
And then sometimes, as an introvert person, like, the worst is when you're at an event and you're not saying a whole lot, and then you think of that thing, and in your brain, oh, this is going to be great. They're going to laugh or something, and then you're there, and then you say it, and like... Oh yeah, that's nice, and they go on and like, I spent so much
time on that.
Yeah, and then it's always when I get home, like, I could have said that. That would have been so funny.
Yep.
But that's why I can do scripted stuff, but improv I can't because I have to process it first before actually thinking of something good.
Or like, have you ever like had an invisible fight with someone in your head? Like, man, I'm so mad at them. I could have said this to them.
Yeah.
You're like, I would have won.
I have actual conversations in my head all the time with myself.
See, I talk to myself out loud. Like,
I don't do that.
all the time. Like I do it all the time, and I'll be dog walking. Then I realized there's been like someone behind me for like a minute, and I'm like, okay, they probably think I'm crazy.
Why?
But I'll be like, I can't formulate as well just in my head. I have to say it out loud. So I will talk to myself, especially when I drive, like all the time.
It's a very mom thing. Our mom does that all. Like, she'll be in the kitchen and you'll hear her like, okay, so let's pick up that thing. And then, oh yeah, that's where it is over there. And, yeah, okay. And what was I gonna get in here? Oh yes, the beets.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah. I think another thing that, extroverts kind of have an easier time with is getting out their feelings, because your feelings, you have to get out what you say. Like, you have to get it out with words. And I feel like extroverts are a lot better at that. They can share their feelings. They can, say whatever. But with introverts, we internalize it and we're thinking about it, and then it gets worse because then it's like all bubbling up inside. And I feel like for you, it'd be a little bit easier to say what's on your mind than for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do that a little bit. That's why I'm kind of in the middle, because I can definitely stew on stuff, like not say it right away, but I don't do it very long. Like, I'll figure it out, like, oh, you're stewing about that, like, you need to go tell them, or you need to talk to somebody about it, because I know what it feels like when I am holding something in, so at least I can identify it, and then I know I have to go, and then I don't have a problem.
Right.
But
yeah. We, like, as an introvert, I do share. I don't share everything, but I share a lot if it's certain times, and it's only when I really want to, and it's also only with, like, a certain amount of people. Like, you have to be super close to me for me to share certain stuff with you. So I'm not as open as an extrovert in that way. So yeah, we tend to bottle it up, and then it gets swirling in our heads, and that's not good.
But then I've observed some extroverts that they need to hold it a little more in sometimes, I think.
Oh, yes.
And they're very reactive, I think. They're just they say it a little too fast. I'm not quite like that, but I've observed some people. And
impulsive.
Then you regret that, because if you hadn't said it, once you say something, it's done. Yeah. It's said. You can't unsay it.
Sometimes I do that. If I'm around people, like, every now and then I'll be like, I shouldn't have opened my mouth. But that usually happens with people that I know that I'm around. Also, I think because we internalize things and it's swirling more maybe than an extroverted person, we can tend to be more moody than an extroverted person.
Introverts, I will say that.
Moody.
They are, are they moody? Jeez.
Yeah. And it's
like,
not
I don't know.
Like,
I have an emotion, and then I get over it. You guys will sit there, and I'm like, are you still mad?
Well, our mom, it's funny, she'll even think about things maybe longer than I do, because, like, she'll say, like, one thing that was not offensive at all, and she takes it that way because she observes people a lot, and she might have seen something that maybe she misinterpreted, and so we'll be at home later, it's like, do you think they're mad at me? Like, that was 5 hours ago. You're still thinking about that? But I do that sometimes, too.
And there's our dad, who's just like, he doesn't remember what he said a minute ago, so it doesn't bother her at all.
Right. So, yeah, I think that's part of the reason. It's not always our fault that we're moody. It's just because it's harder for us to get things out, and then it comes out in other ways. Because if you don't talk about it, you're never going to cover it up completely.
That, I don't need to talk about it. I can just hold it in. I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't. Like,
yeah, it will come out somehow.
You will be such a miserable person. You will be so crabby. Like, no one in the history of ever can hold their feelings and not talk about them and not have it show.
Right. It's going to show whether you talk about it or not. So yeah, it's like, it's always good to talk about things, because as much as you hate to, you always feel better afterwards. Like, it's like this weight lifted off of you. Okay, that was actually good. I should do that more. And then I don't.
Yeah. But I don't. I've experienced that like a few times.
Yeah, just because not all the time.
I just mostly talk about it, I guess, because I never have that like lift, because like it's not really in there for very long.
Yeah.
Like, I will talk about it at some point.
And again, it's probably a little bit easier for you to let things go, because you're not so much focused on what that person was acting like, the little small, like, tones or whatever. You might not even have noticed, and so it's not.
Well, yeah, like, here's a story from when I was little, and I don't know if I ever told a story in here, but my brother is definitely introverted, and we were at a birthday party, and they had a trampoline, like just a little one you could like have in a house, and there was a line, you could go jump on the trampoline, and you could get down, and so it was, he went first, and then I went after him, and I was like jumping around, it had been a little while, and then all of a sudden he just comes over, and my mom saw him grab my hand and pull me off and say, "It's her turn now," like for the next person, because he was like watching the kid who was supposed to be next was like, "Dad, I want to go. Come on, I want to get on." And I was just like, "La la 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 la," and he's like, "Move! It's your turn is done."
Yeah.
So
see, that's like that actually helps sometimes. I don't know what happened.
Okay there?
I choked on air. Okay. Anyways, I think that can help sometimes because, like that kid, she probably might have had a breakdown if you had just kept going.
And I wasn't stopping, so yeah.
It's time for her to get on. Not your turn.
You're done. Get off.
Yeah. Another thing too is I feel like sometimes extroverted people have a hard time understanding introverted people, and it's not their fault. I'm not blaming them, but maybe some ways to understand them is some of my words got blurred because the ink did not do well today on the printer. So yeah, as said in the quotes, a big difference between introverts and extroverts is that we feel drained after being social and they feel energy after being social. So after that, we do need time to just take a break, relax, be by ourselves, read a book, watch a TV show or something, and that really helps us. So, I feel like sometimes people can think we're being rude, if say we're at some sort of gathering and we leave sooner than everybody else, but most of the time we're probably not. So usually just try to let it go because we're not like, I hate this party, I'm leaving, or something. We're usually just like leaving because we can't stay any longer. Our energy it's at 2%.
You're maxed out.
We need to go. Yes. So that's always good to have understanding. If they're leaving, it's probably has nothing to do with you. And another thing is that if you are at a big gathering, I think something that can confuse extroverts a lot is people that are like sitting alone or something. Because, I don't know what you think if you see someone, but do you generally think that they are sad and alone and feeling left out, or do you assume they're introverted, or you just don't know because you can't tell?
Like I kind of said before, I used to feel bad because I'd be like, oh, they're not doing anything, they're not talking, like I feel bad for them.
Mm-hmm.
But now I don't immediately think, oh, that's so sad anymore. I'll be like, oh, they're probably just chilling.
Yeah.
If I see someone who literally isn't talking to anyone and sitting by themselves, then I'll go over and be like, okay, you need to interact with them.
Yeah, right.
But, a lot of times they just need a break and they're just chilling. It's
right.
like, okay.
Yeah, so, you can always assess the situation and you can still go over if you feel like they're, maybe sad or feel like they're being left out. But sometimes it's just an introvert being completely happy, just looking around the room, watching everyone. Because honestly, that's like TV for us. Maybe for extroverts that'd be really boring, but because we're noticing everything, it's like that little radar that Bobby has, just like looking around. Oh, okay, that person.
Well, I found, because we've done that a couple times, we've been waiting to start to people watch, and I find it fun. I don't do it all the time, but when I do, I find it kind of fun, because you start to, like, when I can be observant if I pay attention to the fact that I'm being observant. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not a natural thing, but if I sit there and go, all right, let's try to observe things, then I can find enjoyment from it.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah, and once you get over, if you feel like they're wanting to talk, then yeah, you can talk with them. But if they seem like they're just, kind of doing their own thing and not really wanting to talk, you can just, something like keep the conversation short and, but oftentimes, like even if they are introverted, it will be nice for you to come over and talk to them because we have a harder time going up to people. If you come over to them, we really like that because we do much better with a one-on-one conversation than in a big group of a conversation. Like if we're in a big group, we just kind of like zone out of the conversation. This is too much. But then if you're talking, then we might actually enjoy that. And, I think it's, it helps to give an introvert a chance because they might seem, I don't know, quiet and boring or something. But if you get to know them and you get really close with them, you'll learn that they are actually that's one thing. We can be very extroverted around the people that we know very well. It's very select and very few, but like our immediate family and then like a few friends that we have, because I know them so well, I can be the loudest person at the table if I'm around them, and I can seem very extroverted because I'm comfortable with them. So, oftentimes with an introvert, we can be two different people. We can be, because sometimes like, doing YouTube, my mom knows will talk to my mom after seeing the videos and being like, that was Lucia? Like, she's always so reserved and quiet. Because that's how I am at parties.
Who is that person?
Yeah. So, yeah, we can be very extroverted if we want to, and we can be two different people sometimes. But what about you? What's something that introverts should understand about extroverts that we don't usually?
Just let's do whatever we want. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, I think the world is kind of designed more for extroverts, so I find that more times I think introverts are pushed aside than extroverts because, people kind of are like, oh, we like the life of the party person and, being popular and all that, I think, understanding that is how we recharge is being around people, that there's nothing wrong with us wanting to hang out with people all the time.
I think, that's something maybe, I think introverts sometimes find that annoying, and they can judge a person if you're always around people as like, the annoying and the obnoxious one.
And I think if you're an introvert, you could view it as maybe attention seeking, like, oh geez, this person like isn't comfortable with themselves, they can't, like, they need to always be around people.
Right.
And sometimes, there are extroverts that are attention seeking and annoying.
Yes.
But sometimes it's just that that's how we recharge, is being around other people. So it's not that we can't be alone, it's just that actually drains us.
And I've noticed with her, as we've said, she's more of an ambivert, but as far as the extroverted side, like, sometimes we'll go camping, and my mom and me will have to force her to lay back in the nice comfy chair because she doesn't know how to relax. Because she doesn't necessarily need it. Like, for us, it's like heaven, but for her, it's like, hey, this isn't really doing a whole lot.
Yeah, it's like, for both of you, you view it as, you never relax. You never, just, decompress.
Well, that's true a little bit. You are very busy.
That is part of me as a person, is that I never stop and I'm too busy.
Yes.
So I need to learn to better relax, but I don't need it as much as you guys do. Like, for me, sometimes it's annoying, to relax. It's just, can I do something else? Which, as an extrovert, I'm, having to learn that you still have to relax.
Yeah. Like sometimes
get burnout. Like, I don't need it as much.
Yeah. Because, if she's watching a TV show, oftentimes she can't just watch it. She'll go, fold her laundry, or she'll be writing something on her notebook, or she'll be texting people for her work or something.
Yeah.
So, she has to train herself to relax.
Relaxing. I'm not very good at that, so.
Because you don't need it as much as me.
Yeah, and, some people are like, I don't know how, because at one point I worked 5 jobs, and that was a lot.
That's too much, people.
And people are like, how do you do that? And yes, it was too much, and yes, that was a bad decision, but, I can do a lot in a day and still be okay, you know? I've had days where I don't do anything, and I'm pretty much either just as tired or more tired from, doing that. So, it's all a balance.
Yeah.
But
yeah, something, I guess, going back to our minds, oftentimes the reason we get drained faster, even just doing daily stuff, we can, she said she can do a whole list and be okay, is because of our brain. Sometimes I will just be exhausted because my brain is, on fire, and I need it to stop, but it won't, and I'm this thought, and I obsess on this thought, and it's not like anxiety. I don't necessarily have anxiety. It's just so much going on at once that I'm trying to get my list done on top of my brain going crazy, and just the two of them together, it's just whew.
Which is where I think being an extrovert comes in, that's why we want to be around people, because of the whole getting in your head thing that, you know, like I at one point worked the opening shift at a store, and then I took care of animals for most of the day. So I was by myself a lot, and I would get in my head. I'd be like, why am I like so stressed about this? And then all I would have to do is talk to somebody, and I'd be like, okay, I'm fine now.
Yeah.
All right. Like, it's like it just grounds you. Like, okay, life's not as bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that, and then I am an obsessor over lists. My mom tells me all the time not to do that. And I try my best. I'm better than I was, but I still could improve. But I think it's part of it is, since I'm so detail oriented, I have to get things like right in whatever I'm doing. And so my list also, it tires me out because it's my own fault, because I make myself do it all because I want to do it all perfectly. But that doesn't always happen, and then that aggravates me. So that's always something. That's just a personal thing, I guess, I have to deal with.
Well, yeah, and I think that's part of learning to be flexible. I think introverts are not very flexible.
No,
and that is something it is needed in life. Like, that's one thing that extroverts do have, that if something changes, we're like, cool, let's go with it.
That's
now
why
we're going here.
if you put a bunch of introverts together on a trip, and then you put a bunch of extroverts together on the trip,
it's most likely a very different trip.
Most likely the extroverts will have a much better time, because when it comes to a trip, things are going to go wrong, things are going to change, and extroverts are like, all right, this sounds fun, let's go to this different hotel, and the introverts are all like, oh, but we had to go to the Hilton tree, now we have to go to the Motel 6.
Or even like going on just a camping trip, you know, if something's closed, I can see like the faces of the introverts. They're like, what?
This is our plan.
What? We can't.
What? No.
I can't. And then, you know, I'll be like, oh, we do this instead. And it's like, they need a minute. Like, okay, I need to like redo my brain. I can't.
I had my plan, because I planned it out in my head, and it's not going the way I wanted. So
there is like a key to be able to go, okay, we can change.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
A lot of introverts have trouble with that.
Oh, yes. Very much so. So, I guess for me, the last thing is, Laura brought it up, but it was being an introvert in a very extroverted world, especially in, you know, America. I feel like there are other countries that tend to be more like introverts, but it's very extroverted here, because everything is set up to be extroverted. You know, you go into work, you have to be social there. You go to gatherings all the time, you're invited to, you have to go to that. You have to go to stores and make small talk, and go to the bank and make small talk, and, you know, work meetings and all that. And so, you know, as we said, it drains us, and we deal with it.
You have those people, I've seen it, where they're like, well, you must not be having any fun because you're not saying anything.
Right.
And you're like, stop.
It's usually like a 65-year-old man comes over and like, what are you doing sitting here? Get on up there.
Why don't you smile a little bit?
Yeah.
You're like, dude, just chill. Like,
I'm okay.
I can be having fun and not be the center of attention smiling.
Right.
Like, I can just sit here and have fun.
Right. I think that's the biggest thing that extroverts have a trouble understanding, is we don't have to do that right now. We're here, and we're having fun, but it's okay. We don't have to go do the piñata. We're okay.
And like, I found that, like, if you don't necessarily, like, as an introvert, if you don't like to do something, I think it's helpful if you do like a little bit of something, because some introverts, I think, just, it's like a crutch almost. Well, I'm introverted, so I'm not
you can't be extreme
like,
about it.
You know, if you go a little bit and try to do a game or something, and then that's it. Like, you don't have to play 5 games, but just like 1, and then, you know, if the extrovert can understand that that's it, like, that's all you're gonna get, that's fine, you know?
Yeah. Second plane, what are you guys doing? Anyways, but yeah, so that's, you have to work with it, being extroverted and introverted. Either way, you know, maybe the extrovert has to pull back a little bit, or, you know, as an introvert, I do have to go out of my comfort zone. I do have to do things that I don't want to do. And, I mean, it's good, because then I feel more comfortable doing it in the future. So, yeah, if you're an introvert, try not to lock yourself in and feel like you can't do anything at all, because that's the way you are. Because it's always good to do new things and try new things. Yep. You don't have to be extreme about it. But, so yeah, we get drained by life activities because it's very extroverted, and then, you know, we do all right. We deal with it and we get through it. But I think for extroverted people, if you have an extroverted friend and say you invite them to something and they say no when you absolutely know that they were free doing nothing, it's not necessarily...
You mean introverted friend.
Yeah, introverted friend. Yeah, so it's not necessarily that the introverted friend is being rude or doesn't like you or doesn't want to do something with you. That could be it. I don't know. I don't know the person. But generally it's probably they're just tired, at that part of the day, and they just need to sit back for a little while.
Yeah, which is a good thing about introverts, that they can be honest, which is good. They'll just be like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Right.
And I think extroverts can lean towards like the peer pressure thing of like, oh,
like a people pleaser a little bit, or
like gotta make sure that I keep everybody happy and that I engage in all the events. I don't really like this game, but I'll play it anyway. Whereas an introvert's just like, no.
I do think it's probably a little bit easier for an extroverted person to be influenced by friends than an introverted person.
Yeah, because you tend to, because you're not being observant as much, so you're not like, oh, maybe this isn't like such a good thing for me to do, because you're not thinking about it. You're just in the moment. Mm-hmm. And then if everyone's like, come on, do it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Right.
And if you're an introvert, you're like, no, I've already thought about this for 10 and a half minutes, so
no, I'm not doing it. Yeah. So you need both in, your life, and I think both have pros and cons, but I feel like introverts probably are understood a little less than extroverts, and I'm not blaming anyone, but this is just to show you, just kind of understanding both sides and seeing where they're coming from, and that they're both helpful, and they both can also be a pain sometimes.
And
but
you can
that's
have
just how
aspects of both, like me, because I'm so special.
Right, and you could be a person that, is an ambivert and has both. And it varies from person to person how introverted or extroverted you are. But yeah, so that's... Do you have anything else to share, or...?
No, not really.
All right.
That was it.
Okay, so we hope you've enjoyed that, learned some new things about introverts and extroverts. And now, let's take a break, and we will be back for the Taylor Treasure Box. And now it is time for the Taylor Treasure Box.
What shall we find?
Let's see. For our Anchor viewers, I made it all wintry in January. I put little light. Well, the lights were actually already there. I just kept them. They're blue snowflakes. Okay. All right. I have wear the chest plate with the rainbow hat for the rest of the show. All right. What do you have?
To say, I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty in a Nicolas Cage voice. I'm terrible at impressions. Why do I keep getting these?
Because they're in the box. Okay. It's gonna be hot. It's all toasty.
A little toasty.
I have the rainbow hat.
Favorite hat when you were little.
Yep. And this is gonna fit. Let's see. Yep.
Look at that. What is it? The breastplate of righteousness or something?
It was a Dollar Tree, so probably not.
Oh. We used to have all the the armor of God stuff.
Yeah, this
kids.
is just a dragon. For those listening, it's a winter, childish rainbow hat and a silver and black breastplate, chestplate, whatever. Alright.
Okay. Oh, man. Hello. I have been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
It's just you.
I can't do it. How many times do I have to say this?
Okay, wait, let me try.
Hello. I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
It's like this, I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Okay.
Like that? I don't know.
It's not like him either.
I know. Wait, what? The.
What's a line that he says? I don't know what his lines are.
Well, there's treasure hunt or whatever that
National
was.
treasure.
Sorry,
mother.
I do this all the time now.
Our mother.
She does. Our mom does things like she says sort of the right phrase, but then she mixes
really.
it up. There's a YouTube channel called Studio C, and she would always call it Circle C. She does things like
because
that
the
all
logo
the time.
is a C in a circle.
Yeah. So she made that. But now I'm doing it all the time.
Yep.
It's so annoying. National treasure.
Trestle.
Trestle.
We have to steal the Declaration of Independence.
I don't know.
I'm trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
It's not. No. Not going well.
Can't do it.
Whew! I'm gonna get heat stroke in this.
And don't wear it.
I'll wear it. I have to. It's for the show, for the people.
I don't think they care if you wear it. I don't think they care at all.
There. All right. Well, that was the Taylor Treasure Box, and let's take a break, and we will be back for our last winter segment. Alrighty, so we want to talk about winter growing up, but why don't you share your special hot chocolate recipe because people requested it.
World wants to know.
We'll put it below too in the description, but she can also just read it because it's very good.
Yeah. So this is from cooks.com, and this is by Sarah. It is Sarah's best homemade chocolate, so thank you, Sarah, wherever you are. So you're going to need, if you want to make just like a serving for yourself, this is like a personal serving. If you want to do more than that, you can like do more than 1 cup. So you need 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of water, and then 1 cup milk and a little bit of vanilla. So before you do anything with the milk, you have to take the cocoa, sugar, and water in a saucepan and combine those and then heat it just a little bit so that like the granules of the sugar go away. And then you add the milk and the vanilla, and then you stir it up, and then you wait till it heats up, and then you're done.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing.
Okay.
So I think it's just a combination of like adding the chocolate and sugar together first, and then you add the milk. It just makes it really good. So,
yeah.
Good luck. Hope it works for you.
Yeah. Way better than whatchamacallit.
Swiss Miss.
Swiss Miss. That
Eat
stuff.
that anymore.
Ugh.
Well, because also people add water. I'm like,
why would
it's
you do
not
that?
hot chocolate if you add water.
It's
hot
brown
water.
milk. That's all it, or brown water. That's all it is.
It's chocolate water. It's hot
chocolate
chocolate water, which is gross.
That is,
so.
yeah. I can't do it. So enjoy that. Let us know in the comments if you found it as tasty as we do.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about just, reminiscing on what it was like for us with winters as children, because we don't do it.
You're still
anymore.
a child, for another month.
For a month. Yeah. You can't. Her nickname for me is either Lil or Child. I get child all the time. Child.
Because you are. You're a child.
You can't do it. She'll do it till I'm 46.
Yep.
Or dead. I don't know. So we didn't really do a whole lot with like building snowmen. Like we did it like twice. I don't know why.
What? No.
Really?
You didn't like being in the snow. You did not build snowmen. We built snowmen all the time.
Okay.
Every season.
All right.
You just
I
didn't
don't
like it.
remember that.
The one I remember is the biggest one we ever made was, it was our goal to make like, there was this movie called The Snowman with no talking. It was all instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to make, it's very sad. We wanted to make a snowman as big as that. And we did. It was just like a lump with a face on it. But it was pretty tall. And we spent literally all day on it. And it was like near our back alleyway. And then we came inside, looked out the window, and like half of it was falling on the ground. And we were convinced at the time that somebody knocked it over, that they like came in the alleyway and purposely did it, because I still don't know how it's possible. It was like this frozen structure at this point, because we've been doing it all day, to that fast fall over. I think there was some jerk in the alleyway who came up and knocked it over. It was so sad.
People, man. Yeah, I feel like I every year would try to build a snowman, and then I would give up.
It's a lot of effort.
I would
start to roll, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna take forever.
I would do it for like about 5 minutes and be like, no. Although some years though, the snow was just bad. You have to get it so that it'll pack together. Some of it would just like powder together and just be like poof.
Yeah, you can't make a snowman with that.
No.
But also, like, the cartoons where they roll 3 separate balls and then put them on top? No, it doesn't work. You have to just form it, and then you can shape the circles.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, we did. I guess we did do that a little bit, but we also would just run around and play in the snow. But the main thing was sledding. We love to sled, and we have a hill. So I mean, it's not a huge hill, but it was enough, and it was fun. And the best part was the first day was not so fun because you had to make the lines, and then the next day they would kind of freeze over, and then you could go down a lot faster because it was like ice, and that's fun.
Or we went to a giant baseball field hill.
Yes,
huge.
it was.
That was fun.
They would go all the way to the top. I was always scared too. I would go like
yeah.
halfway up, and that's it. And then if you had seen my face, I was just like cringing the whole time. Oh, here comes the big bump at the end.
Yeah, you were not a fan of the outdoors. Like, at a very young age, you decided, no more snow playing. Not doing it. Because our mom would be like, you want to go play in the snow? No.
Yeah.
So I remember we loved playing in the snow. And
I did with other people. The problem was, by the time I said no, it was because I didn't have anyone else to do it with, and it was boring.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But I think I started to get tired of it as I got a little older, but when I was super young.
I remember having to drag you
we
out.
would see, like, 0.1 of an inch of a snowflake, and we'd be like, we can go sledding?
Yeah.
And my parents would be like, well, no, because it's grass. Like,
Yeah.
you need actual snow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so also I loved to eat snow when I was a kid. And thinking back, that was pretty gross. Because you would eat, I guess the stuff that just falls is fine, but then we would like find snow after it had been down for like a good day or two and still eat it. That's kind of gross. Because who knows what was
Well,
on
I
it.
remember the fact about snow that I've hung on to this day is if you're ever alone in a frozen wasteland, don't eat the snow to quench your thirst.
Yeah, it makes you
because it
thirsty.
won't. I don't know when I will ever need that information, but it stuck with me as a child. I'm like, I'm never going to eat this and think it's gonna like fix my thirst problem.
It's also fun to just stand outside with your tongue and catch the snowflakes. That's fun. I feel like as a kid, at least for us, we went through the transition of like the space overalls that we would wear that were like huge, and then we would go down to jeans. But it was always first that, and then it was jean time. You always had.
I had overalls.
You used overalls the whole time because that's you. But
what? Overalls are great. They are back in.
No,
because you very much.
It defeated the purpose because they were jean overalls. So you might as well have just worn jeans at that point.
I had like 3 layers on. I was the queen of layers. You can see pictures of me.
I hated layers.
At a stage where I would have like a turtleneck, a regular shirt, a vest, and then like maybe a shawl over that. Like I was the queen of layers. So I literally had like 3 pairs of pants on.
Yeah,
wasn't a great idea. I should have just. The problem was, like, I have extremely long legs. So at a certain point, I realized the snow pants thing wasn't going to work anymore because it wasn't even going to reach my boot. So snow was going to get in. So I just transitioned over to those.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But also, one of my favorite things was finding like the huge icicles and taking them off. They're so cool. I actually have in our freezer, I have one that's frozen from probably like, I don't know, 8 years ago, but I will never let it melt because it's pretty much dust at this point because it's at the bottom and people have thrown stuff on it, so it's nothing now.
Why would you keep it then?
Well, I forgot it was in there, and then it was like yesterday. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's still in there from, way back when.
I remember, we always tried to find the best icicles. The best one ever was the graveyard icicle. Do you remember that? Or not the graveyard, the gravestone.
No.
Do you remember that? I think you were too young. But it was where, like when you run the furnace, and then there's a little pipe outside, and it'll drip sometimes from using your furnace. I don't know, it was just perfect weather conditions.
Oh, the huge one.
It sculpted a literal, gravestone. It was a complete shape. It was about probably 3 feet tall. It was amazing. And we tried to save it as long as we could, but eventually it melted and it was very sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah. We also were very, like, careful when we were kids. Like, sled riding, I feel like you would hear stories of, oh, yeah, my son, broke his nose, or, they broke their, leg or whatever. We never got hurt, like, once. We didn't even get a bloody nose. Well,
no, we were pretty safe kids.
Yeah. Well, because Nathaniel and you were, like, being, like, little parents to me, because you were, like, very responsible, and then you would just keep me safe. Although, also, I wasn't very reckless, though.
No, you were scared of stuff.
Yeah, I was scared. That's why, like, if I would actually...
When she was little, she wouldn't put her neck underwater because she thought she wouldn't be able to breathe.
It's still a true thing. If you put your neck underwater, you can feel it closing. You can breathe, but it's like...
all in your head.
Because my cousin will never let it go. She forced me to go in the deep end if I would hold on to her shoulders. And as I was going down, I said, oh, I can't breathe.
Her face
My
was
face
not
was
under the
not.
water. So that's kind of the child you were. You were afraid of a lot of things. I never had to worry about it.
If we had, like, going to that baseball field, I would go up a little ways, and I would possibly go up a little more than halfway, but I would have to go with my dad. He would have to put me on the sled with him. And then there was
a baby hill.
I know. I'd go on the baby hill. It wasn't as fun because it was never as snowy or icy because no one went on it. Mm-hmm. So you would, like,
oh yeah, the big hill, man, it would get like,
it was so fast.
It was legitimately ice. If you went all the way to the top, you were hitting some high speeds, and you get to the bottom, and there would always be like a little rut, so you'd go.
That's what I was always afraid of, because there was this big giant hole at the bottom. Mm-hmm. I remember just being like,
and then you would land on your butt, and it would really hurt, and you'd do it again.
Yeah, you go all the way to the top. Probably the last thing I want to say is back in 2010.
Back in the 2010 era.
Back in my day, children. Listen up. There was a humongous snowstorm, the most snow we've ever had.
It was like just crazy the amount of snow we got.
I forget what it was called, but it was all over the Northeast, like completely. So everyone got it, but we got it, and we live on a really busy road, and there's cars constantly going. But it got so snowy that no one could drive on the road for a good day or two.
No, you were not remembering. It got snowy, but then a tree fell down.
Oh,
so
yeah,
they
right.
blocked off the entire road, which is crazy because we live on like a main road.
So
it's always full of traffic.
Yeah. So it was full of snow because the whatchamacallit, the guy,
snowplow.
Yeah, snowplow. The snowplow couldn't come, so there was just snow everywhere. It was like up. How high did it go up to the cars? Like, it was past the tires. I think it was so high.
Yeah, it was like halfway up the car.
Yeah, it was halfway up the car. Snow everywhere. So it was like everyone that's always inside, like everyone came out, and there was like little ants, like everyone started to come out into the road and just like playing it because there was no cars.
To like do snow angels. We really wanted to sled down the hill, but it was too much snow. Like you couldn't even sled because you just sink.
We could have done. I wish we had known about that humor back then, but it would have been so funny to just like do that thing. People make videos where they like plop in the snow and then disappear because it's so high. That would have been funny. We should have done that.
Well, we didn't really have a video camera back then.
We did.
Well, maybe we did.
Yeah. But yeah, so that...
I remember taking our dog Oyster. He was hilarious because he's at like a beagle size, and he would have to go like, da-da. He'd have to like leap through the snow to be able to move because he was so tall.
It was so tall.
It was funny.
But that snow was really fun. Like,
that was the best snow of any year.
Definitely. I think it went up past, it's like halfway up my stomach. It was very, I was also a tiny person.
Yeah, you were like little.
Yeah. But that was the best winter, I believe, ever. Although, but there was that snow, and then there was the snow when I turned 4. That was pretty bad too, wasn't it? Because everyone canceled. No one came to my party. It was very sad.
It was like one day. Like the big snow in 2010, it lasted like, had to be 3 or 4 days because it would like snow again, and then they couldn't get up to fix the tree, so it just
we were all stuck.
Yeah,
it was like a little vacation.
At least the power didn't go out or anything, so it was not like hard. No. It was just fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun. But is there anything else you want to share?
No, I mean, I was just gonna say that you saved high school. I always tried to save a snowball. Never lasted. I don't know.
That's
why.
almost impossible.
It never lasted.
Yeah, you can't unless you poured water over it and made it like a ice ball.
Yeah, but I was like, that's not a snowball.
Yeah, you did try the snowball. That didn't work because people were throwing frozen chickens on it, so it wasn't working.
I hope I put it in a bag.
I'm sure it's in there
I think
somewhere.
I did. Well, I mean, that was years ago.
Well, I think you must have put that in the basement.
No, because
freezer.
I remember you could, in the spring, if you saved a snowball from the winter, you could go to the science center for free. They'd let you in. So we always tried to do that, but it never made it to the spring.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Right.
But
Well, speaking of spring, the last thing is we had about 3 or 4 years ago the opposite of that. It was the summer, and it got so hot, and it was, for some reason, one day, it was like, I think it was August, and all the power went out, like, in our area. So we felt like we were, like, old pioneers having to go outside because nothing would turn on. No air conditioners, no fans.
Mm-hmm.
So we're, like, outside with popsicles, just, like,
we're so roughing it right
Yeah.
now.
My mom was worried about the chicken in the freezer. I think it was okay, though. It didn't last for long. But I guess that's all we wanted to share today. Hope you have enjoyed this episode.
Enjoy your winter. Go find some icicles.
Yes, and hope it snows where you live, because it
Yes.
hasn't here. And make sure to give this video a like and a comment, and make sure to subscribe. And after you subscribe, make sure to press the bell to get all of our videos in your notifications box. And you can also follow us on Instagram, which is @TaylorTreasuresOfficial, and TikTok, which is @TaylorTreasures. And lastly, you can also follow us on the app Anchor so that you can listen to us with your phone screen off so that it doesn't waste all your power and go all over to your calculator because it was in your pocket.
Exactly.
So, again, hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you for the Saturday Sketch Show and then the February show. See you then. Bye!